this Tuesday on a special edition of The Burning Issue from 10:05 hours to 11:30 hours. Join Zachariah Banda as he hosts the Democratic Party President, Mr. Harry Kalaba, as they discuss current affairs. Watch and listen live on the 5FM Facebook page, 5FM Radio Zambia. 5FM Radio is on 89.9 MHz in Lusaka and 94.1 MHz in Chipata, Eastern Province. The Burning Issue, live, uninterrupted, and exclusive to 5FM Radio.
We seem to be receiving some unfamiliar signal at your local radio station. Please confirm.
What do you think it is?
Well, this might sound strange, but it seems to be an alien form of life, and they seem to be heading directly to Zambia, and Lusaka in particular.
Alert security. It could be a hostile encounter.
Emergency alert. I repeat, emergency alert. We're under attack by aliens from an unknown planet.
Please fill me in.
Well, the spaceships have all landed at Kasong's Pub and Grill, just at the corner of Luansha and Nchoncho Roads in Villa Elizabetha. I just cannot believe this. The aliens are ordering meals. I can see some with chicken sizzler, fish, kapenta, vimbombo, nshima, and the other one has visashi only. And wait, there's another one with a juicy T-bone. I always knew that Kasong's had some great food, but I didn't know that it was out of this world. Now I understand why they had to travel this far.
Kasong's Pub and Grill, corner of Mchoncho and Luansha Road, Villa Elizabetha. Great traditional and Western cuisine. Come and let us have a meal together. For orders and inquiries, call 0211 224045. That is 0211 224045.
Democracy and freedom of expression is about tolerating the views that you don't like from someone you might not like. This is the burning issue on the happy world of 5FM Radio, bringing you hot, smoldering topics on a weekly basis. Your participation is important.
We Good morning and welcome to this special edition of the Happy World of the Burning Issue on the Happy World of 5 FM radio, and it is on 89.9 Lusaka and 94.1 in Chipata City and the Eastern Province at large. We are also live on our Facebook page, that is 5FM Radio Zambia, and also on our website 5fm.co.zm. I'm your usual host. My name is Zakaria Banda, and later on in the program, I will give you, our listeners, an opportunity to call in and interact with our guest. Let me, at this time, introduce my guest, who happens to be the president of the Democratic Party, Mr. Harry Kalaba. It's always a pleasure to host you. Welcome to the program once again.
Thank you very much, Zax. It's always a pleasure also for me to be on the... Is it the power world of 5FM?
The happy world.
The happy world of 5FM.
Don't you feel the happiness when you walk in? Of course, that's what it means.
The ambience, just the environment tells you that you are home.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that most of the times when I check on you, you're either out of the town, out of the country, but more so out of the town. That tells me you are still traversing this country.
Yes.
What are you discovering, and how much mobilization are you doing as a party?
That's a good one. Zax, where I come from, they say Kandolo yaba kuisamba. Simply meaning that I will play more politics, not the politics of the media, because you, the media, don't vote. You do what you want to do, but the actual voting is with the people. So I have decided myself that I'll be on the ground, and that's what I'm doing. And it's not only me, my colleagues. I'm flanked here by the provincial chairman for Lusaka and the provincial chair lady for Lusaka. They too have been all over Lusaka. We have colleagues in Western Province who are doing the same things, because winning an election is not just on paper. Winning an election, the way we are determined to win the election ourselves, right, we have to do everything, and we're not going to leave any stone unturned, because the Zambians have suffered enough, and they're counting on the Democratic Party, they're counting on its leader, Harry Kalaba, to be the difference. That they hope that if the Democratic Party wins, not if, by the way, when the Democratic Party wins, at least there'll be sanity in this country. The country will be called to order. Our marketeers will see the day of light. Our taxi drivers and minibus drivers today who are struggling with making it will at least begin seeing the day of light. And currently things are just in a quagmire. We don't know whether we are coming or going as a country. And so everybody's hopes is pinned on us, and we know the enormity of the task that is before us. And so we are not taking chances. We are making sure that we do our work, and so we'll continue being on the ground. And then we'll start the rallies when the time for rallies comes. For now, we want to be with the people in real time.
Interesting. I know we're going to discuss a number of issues. We will discuss your participation as a party at the just ended National Dialogue Forum. We'll also discuss the mines and obviously the hula baloo between the mines and the government and foreign investments at large. We'll also discuss many other things, but I'm tempted to start with one question that is concerning the church. I would like to find out from you your understanding on how the church's role in national governance, and how the church seem not to be in harmony currently with the leadership. I'm saying this because this week, I was surprised to hear the president saying this in church and telling off the clergy that he's not ashamed to call the clergy who think they are holier than thou not to think so. I mean, how do you take that?
Well, first of all, I must take you back to even the pre-independence days.
Right.
That the church has always played a very pivotal role. Dr. Kaunda, when he was fighting against the colonialists at the time, the places where he could go and seek shelter was the church. He was in missions, various missions across the country will tell you that they hosted Dr. Kaunda during the time of the struggle. And when I say missions, it's the Catholic missions, it is the CMML, it is these other missions that have been in existence for quite some time.
Right.
So the role of the church has never been in question. When we were migrating from multi-party system in 1990-91, the church was at the epicenter. You remember Dr. Kaunda had to cut short his 5-year term, which should have ended from 1985 to 1993. He dragged it to 1991. And that was being done in the spirit of oneness and in the spirit of discovering our strengths as a people. Again, it was the church that was at the Cathedral of the Holy Cross. So the church was very instrumental in that. And the church has continued, even when we were fighting in 2000, fighting for debt cancellation. You remember that the church was playing a very pivotal role. And when I say the church, I mean it is the same traditional church we have been referring to. That's the Catholic Church and the Evangelical Fellowship of Zambia, as well as the Council of Churches. They played a very pivotal role in ensuring that Zambia's debt burden was at least ameliorated. And I also know, because I attended those meetings, that even when we had challenges, when President Sata died, again the church played a very pivotal role. I mean, we sat in the office of the acting president then, Dr. Guy Scott. We sat with 2 bishops who had traveled, and I was there. I mean, again, we were at St. Ignatius when we were trying to do party reconciliation and harmonizing. I mean, the church has always played a pivotal role. So, for me, I've always held the church in high esteem. It's the last trump card that we have always had as a people, because from the church we have seen solidarity, from the church we have seen togetherness, and the church has always provided the strength that we have required as a nation. So like you were surprised, I too was surprised that the President of the Republic of Zambia had the audacity to postpone on the Catholic Church and the Evangelical Fellowship of Zambia, as well as the Council of Churches, because those are the ones who didn't attend the NDF.
Right.
And he accused them of playing holy when they shouldn't play that game. I was dumbfounded. I couldn't believe it, that the president was speaking in that fashion. And he said, you are not the only ones. There are these other churches which we are. And, he shouldn't speak that language, because he is a president. What he should do is to ensure that he bridges the divide, he bridges the gaps that might exist even within the body of Christ, so that the church doesn't seem to operate as different bodies. It's one. And so to want to divide the body of Christ is not correct, especially coming from the head of state. So clearly for me, he was off tangent, and he should choose his words. And this is the problem that we have had with our head of state. He doesn't know when to say what. He doesn't know how to say what. He doesn't even know where to say what. So that is why the problem is, because as head of state, you must not, whatever you say is very profound, is very heavy. And so the way you say it and how you say it also matters. But we have a head of state who even dares the church and says, take me on. So the Catholic Church has heard. I'm sure the priests, wherever they are listening to me from, or wherever they are listening to the president from, I'm sure they have heard that he has given them a challenge to take him on. So take him on. Show him in 2021 that he is irrelevant to Zambia's political discourse, so that he can go back and live where he is. But that arrogance is artificial arrogance. The president's arrogance towards the church is very artificial arrogance, because it is showing a person who has been branded as humble, because that's the song we hear from the PF, that he is a humble man, a humble leader, because he folds his arms when he's walking, and he has taught the church off. He has blasted the church. He has told them, take me on, because he's donating 1,000 pockets of cement. So he thinks by having more dollars, by having more money, then the morality of the church should no longer exist. But we are here to tell the president that before he ascended to the presidency, the same church is disparaging, has always been there. We are reminding the president that before he became president, the same church prayed for him, even when he ascended to the office of president. And that now that he's richer than the church, as he claims, it is only decent that he minds what he says, because I don't think the church is in for a battle with him. I don't think that is what the church wants. The church only wants morality to prevail in this country. The church only wants the vulnerable to be protected. The church is only looking at helping the downtrodden. That's what the church wants. And when the church speaks, they are not siding with anybody. This is how they have been speaking. And Dr. Kaunda in 1990 also thought the church was siding with MMD. The church has never sided with MMD. And the MMD in 2011 thought the church was siding with Michael Sata. The church was not siding with the PF. And now the church's message has never changed. The same poor they have been talking about since time immemorial are the same poor they're talking about today. So to come and insult them in that fashion and belittle the church in that fashion is sad. And it is telling you that the president is losing it. And I feel sad for him. Actually, at the stage we have reached, the president requires sympathy.
I still want to stick to anything related with the president for now. Let's discuss the issue of foreign investment in Zambia. I'm bringing this up because I know that you've been the longest serving foreign minister of this government, and your responsibility was obviously to woo investment into the country. And not only that, but take care of the foreign investment as well, because you are dealing with foreigners. And so the plight was very important, or is always important, in as far as foreign ministry is concerned. Is this, in this case of the KCM and the Mopani mining investors, who are being accused of obviously arm-twisting government and trying to enrich themselves in that direction and so on, they've received threats. I mean, the president has dared them. He tells them, you can leave if you want, I can always find other investments. Is this timely? What's really is the problem? What's your understanding of this fracas between government and the mines?
Well, I'll tell you that the problem that is going on right now is squarely in the hands of government. This is a government that just talks hot. This is a government that doesn't even mean the words that it utters. Because if this government was serious, the issue of Mopani and Konkola copper mines would not even have been here. In November last year, you will recall, Zax, that the president was in Chingola.
Yes.
Who received the president in Chingola? It was KCM. Who gave the president those drinks he was drinking in Chingola? It was KCM. Who provided the boardroom where he was addressing? It was KCM. And even within KCM, when he was asked the question on what he was going to do on the plight of the miners on the copper belt, the president said, what do you want me to do? Because the Minister of Mines is not here and the Minister of Finance is not here. That was in November last year. And in fact, the Honorable Minister of Mines, Honorable Richard Musukwa, even issued an ultimatum to Konkola Copper Mines. He gave KCM a 7-day ultimatum in which KCM was going to change its behavior or risked having its license revoked. KCM didn't change its behavior. The license was not revoked. KCM continued. So when you see a government that now rushes to the airport and begins telling you that, no, now we are going to do this, now we are going to do that, why didn't you do it in November? And you know, again, the approach of the president towards serious matters is now worrying me. Because an issue that is involving our own people on the mines, on the copper belt, our own people are being thrown out in the cold. We have about 11,000 jobs that are on the line on the mines. We have the mines that have now issued a circular to the workers on the copper belt that they will no longer they'll no longer have their contracts renewed. I mean, they have been told that once your contract expires, you have to go. They will not be promoted, and that those who want to go can go. So the security of tenure for our people has gone. That is not an issue you can just come highlight from a $135 million jet in a poor country like ours. You highlight from that jet, and then you start talking about the issue of the miners that now they are going, we are divorcing. I expected His Excellency the President to go to Konkola Copper Mines. In fact, he should not even have gone to show that he's doing that. You don't have to go there. Konkola Copper Mines should have just gone there. Because remember what happened. If my memory serves me right, I think it is 2006 or 2005, somewhere there. The late President Mwanawas, may he so rest in peace, also had an issue with the mines last time. He had to call the boss of Vendetta that time from all the way wherever he was. He brought him into Lusaka. And this was their boss, you know. He dragged him from overseas and brought him into Lusaka and had a meeting with him and told him the position of government. It was after that the president now issued a statement. And the president addressed the nation on such an important issue. Not what we are seeing. Where you see the president highlighting from a jet and begins talking, no, they have been defrauding us for a long time. So if they have been defrauding
how could you
us,
have done it if you were in his shoes?
Come on, me, I can't play that cheap. I mean, when I become president, you live and see that order will kick in this country. Because I did public administration, first of all. So I know how one should conduct himself. And secondly, I am a diplomat. I have been a foreign minister in government. So I know how to deal with such matters. And thirdly, investor confidence should also be protected. Even when you are dealing with one investor, you must be sure that you don't affect the other investor. Because the moment the president issued that statement of threatening those Konkola Kopa people whom we could even have dealt with quietly, what happened with the dollar? It was in free fall. The dollar kept on crumbling against any major convertible currency. It's because of the carelessness in terms of the statements that the president made. So you have to be careful. That's why I said that he doesn't know when to say what, when to say it, how to say it, and where to say it. He doesn't know. He needs to take time to learn a bit of administration. In that way, he will know how to handle delicate matters like that. Because here it is the lives of our miners. It's the lives of our citizens which are on trial. And you just can't speak that cheaply and expect things just to go around. It doesn't work that way. So I expected him to take the matter very seriously, especially with KCM as well as Mopani, because the issue of KCM is not new. The issue of Mopani is not new. These are issues we have been talking about. I was in Chingola myself, and I did talk about these issues when I was in Chingola. That was last year. We were talking about the suppliers to the mines who can't be paid. Chingola now has become a ghost town because KCM can't pay its employees on time, first of all. KCM also can't pay the suppliers. So if the suppliers are not paid, it means that the suppliers also cannot take their children to school. It means that they cannot also go and fix their vehicles in the garages. And it's a vicious cycle. So it means that the whole of Chingola, on Copper Belt in 10, is coming to a standstill because the economic activity is hijacked. And then when they tell you that we are going to lay off these people, you get surprised. Because you should have been surprised that the problems of KCM have started a long time ago. They didn't start yesterday. And to react in the manner he reacted, it was like he was giving you an impression that this is just now. No. The issues have been ongoing for a long time. And I have personally raised these matters before, that we can't keep our people in the manner we are keeping them. And what happens? He was on the Copper Belt. I am yet to know if government has taken over KCM, because first of all, government doesn't even have the capacity to take over KCM because this government doesn't have money. Where is it going to get the money to look after KCM? Because once they take over KCM, they're also going to take over their liabilities. So where are they going to get the money to pay all those workers that they are? So that is just talking hot air. And when you see people, in the past, when you see someone is trying to start fighting with somebody and the guy is busy telling somebody, just to know that this guy doesn't know what he's doing. That's the behavior that the president clearly exhibited in Ndola. I'm issuing a marriage certificate. We are divorcing with KCM. In the evenings is with KCM. And KCM is still there. So don't talk if you are not sure about what you are going to do. But this is where the problem is in our country. The problem that we have right now is not KCM. It's not lack of jobs. The problem we have in this country is lack of leadership. What is abnormal now in this country is now normal. What is supposed to be abnormal is now normal. We have an army of unemployed youths on the streets. It is normal. We have women in the markets who have never had any recapitalization. It's normal. We have taxi drivers. Yesterday I was on a taxi. Taxi driver was telling me he has to work for 3 weeks for the boss and 1 week for himself, and he's supposed to get for that week. And he says, I worked for my week which ended yesterday, but I've not realized anything because business was hard. Those are the voices that the Democratic Party is carrying on its back. Because as Democratic Party, we are feeling the pinch. We are feeling the heat of the economy. This economy is not fair with the taxi drivers and minibus drivers and with those people right off the streets. They are chasing people on the streets every day, chasing them. The other day I witnessed a van, light van, full of traders. Now, so me, I thought there was something which was happening. Who was in those? About the my vendors now send. Mana mayo. Abe now send tumbua imbalala baleshtisha tute. Doesn't the police have enough work to do? That government can continue, our PF can continue victimizing our people on the streets? When I become president, this is going to end. We can't have our citizens.
What will end? Would you end street vending, or you will end harassment of street vendors?
What will end is that we are going to end the harassment. And even street vending, do you know why they are on the streets? It's because they don't have a proper place where they can go and trade. If you show them a proper place where they can go and trade, they will not even be on the streets. But they are on the streets because there is no proper place where they can go and trade. And when they go to those places, what is there? PF, at your flag, you go and quarantine people and they should sing PF. Because markets should be able to operate independently. And when I become president, markets will operate independently. There will be no hand of any kada. I will not allow any chitenge of anybody, including that of the Democratic Party. It will not fly in the markets. Because we need order. Apatufikile, if we don't insist on order, then this country will collapse. Apatufikile, if we just insist on business as usual, in our PF tulanga, where for them it doesn't matter whether baikato mupi na mtwala mchifungo, they don't care at all. And the person's capital is 200. You go and get what they were selling and you're charging them 300 for them to get out of the... It's unfair. Extremely unfair. Because we need to be fair to our people. Those are the people who voted for PF. Those ones, they voted for PF in government. But because anyway the PF we have today is a Changanya PF. So they don't know where they're coming or going. So they can do anything to the people. But I'm saying when we come in power, order kicks in. The market goes back to the local authority. People go in their right places of trading, where they will have proper trading space and will ensure that what belongs to them is given to them. That's all. What people need is a strong leader. What people need is a strong leader. A leader that is focused. A leader that knows where they are going. Not here brakatabra and you hope things are going to work well. No. That is where this country is going when the Democratic Party takes over.
Let me cut you off guard. I'll take you back to the day that you declared taking over the helm of Democratic Party as president. I noticed that, there were a number of cadres who, while you were making your speech, would make noise and you shut them down, shut them up, and you told them, I'm not going to accept this kind of approach to politics. Is that your stance?
Yes. That's my stance.
What is it that you will not tolerate in as far as your followers are concerned?
My followers and my colleagues in the Democratic Party know very well because they're also yearning for the change that they desire. China has got about 1.8 billion people. Only 300 million people are members of the Chinese Communist Party. 1.5 billion people in China don't belong to the Communist Party. The reason why people are belonging to the PF and even if they don't belong there, because I've met men who say, it's because the party has become, it's like if you don't belong to the PF, then you cannot do business in this country. We will demystify that as Democratic Party. As DP, business and politics will be separate entities. So we'll encourage our colleagues, because there'll be a lot of things to do anyway in this economy. This economy will be thriving. This economy will go back to its glorious days. We will have, somebody was challenging me the other day, it is easier said to say you will have an industry. Anybody can wake up and say they will have an industry. No. Me, when I say we'll have an industry in Namshake and we'll start making windscreens, I know what I'm talking about. I know that I was Foreign Affairs Minister. Me, I know where to go and say, please, you people, can we partner? We start doing windscreens in Western Province. Me, I know. Where have you seen 54 years, 55 years after independence, we are still getting logs of Mukula, exporting them over the seas and oceans. A log. That's primitive. When we take over power, we will not allow any log to cross the seas. Never. We will establish the industry right there in Northwestern Province. We will establish the industry right there in Northern Province. We will establish the industry right there in Southern Province, because that's where the material is. We can't be shipping jobs outside. Do you know why Trump, in the history of the USA, why Trump today is doing very well economically, and that there are now less people who are employed in America since the 60s? It's because he's insisting on ensuring that raw materials are done right there in America. He's insisting that what America can do, we should do it. There will be no reason for us to import what we can do. But this, what I'm saying, is not easy. What I'm saying is not easy to be done. It requires a fortified character. It requires a very straight leader who will look at the Chinese in the face and tell them, forget about us giving you the logs. Bring your equipment here. Let us train our people here. And then we are going to export butts of guns to your country. Then we are going to export. The moment we start doing that, even the kwacha will start stabilizing. But right now, we are all importing. And on top of that, corruption is at its highest in the PF government. It's at its highest. So there's nothing that is happening. So when we take over government as Democratic Party, our youths will not have time to come to receive Kalaba at the airport. Because first of all, they'll be busy working in the industries. So how would they get time to come and dance for Hari Kalaba at the airport? They will not be there. This journey you are seeing here is going to be busy doing our own things. We are going to introduce cottage industries in this country. We want to have outgrower schemes in various sectors. You know, we have got hammer mills being made in this country, but we don't have even our students making boats for the hammer mills. We need to have our own people do that. We have got everything being sold to us, and yet we've got the raw materials. We have got copper in this country, but we have not even done half of what copper can do for this country. We should have been one of the wealthiest countries, because Zambia is number 8 in terms of copper producing in the world. So what have we got to show? Apart from those careless statements at the airport on the investors? Nothing. So we want to bring order in this country. We want to ensure that our youths are taken care of properly. Our youths go where they need to be. They need to be in industry. They need to be in jobs. Once they are in jobs, this economy will begin running on its own. Even the bars you are complaining about that they're opening at 06, that is just a thing which will just die naturally. Because who will go to drink alcohol at 06? Because everybody will be running for work. Everybody will be in this, they'll be in that, they'll be in that. That's why research and development, which will bring us Democratic Party, is key. We need to see what are the advantages that we have as a political party. What are the strengths that we have as a political party? What are the strengths that Zambia has as a country, so that we can blend this strength that Zambia has, the strength that we have with our own human intellectual capacity. Then we are going to put these things together, and together we are going to do huge, because together we are stronger. But now, today there is no plan. That's why you are seeing Ichitenge pakamwala na wabika, Ichitenge musebo, Ichitenge. Your people are dying of hunger. This economy is collapsing. Look at how people are suffering. There are no jobs in this country. The economy is on the people's back, and they are putting Iftenge so that you look popular. Is that the whole popularity looks like? Those who are popular, like Harry Kalaba, are quite working. But when 2021 comes, then we'll separate the boys from the men. So we shall see. Because they are claiming popularity, they are fearing people there, they're taking people there. What Zambians want right now is an economy that is working for them. Right now, the economy is only working for the politicians. You ask our business people today, small businesses today have closed. No capital. You ask our Zambian entrepreneurs, our Zambian businessmen. I was reading somewhere the president was pleading for 20%. Oh, I'm asking you, Aviki and all these others, please give Zambians a 20%. They need 20%. You wait, I come. Why should Zambians be subcontractors? Why should they be subcontractors in their own country? Why? When just across here in Rwanda, you find that when they've advertised for a contract, it is all going to the Rwandese contractors. Why can't a Chinese be a subcontractor? Bring his equipment, bring his capital, inject it with the Zambian, they partner together, and then the Zambian entrepreneur makes progress. Why can't that happen? That can't happen because we don't have a leadership that is strong. We are bringing a leadership that is going to have the Zambian people get back this country back in their hands. This country is no longer in their hands. It is in the hands of outsiders. And Zambians have become spectators in their own country. And I'm saying no.
What is your comment on the strong rumor that actually the president is a very good, noble man, but the problem is people surrounding him? I mean, we hear all the time, even within the PF, people would say he's surrounded by wrong people. I mean, is this true? Isn't the president supposed to have people that are loyal to him?
A bad carpenter blames his tools. That's what I'll tell you. A bad carpenter will always blame his tools. The truth of the matter is, the president is the one who appointed those people. And if the president thought that those people are not advising him, we would have kicked them out. He's got the powers. So to begin finding time to begin blaming the president as to whether it is the people surrounding him who are not, him who is a good person, is humble. Is it the people surrounding him who issued the statement against the church? Is it the people surrounding him who told him to go and buy the $135 million jet? Is it the people surrounding the president who told the president that, sir, can you please go and get involved in the procurement of a $1.2 billion contract, the second dollar dual carriageway? Is it the people surrounding him who told him not to put teachers on the payroll? Teachers who finished from 2016, 2017, 2018. Is it them who told them don't put them on the payroll and then go and buy a jet? It's not them. It's himself. So don't blame those surrounding him. Because me, when I'm president, I know who can do what for me. Even now, as Democratic Party president, I know who can do what for me. I know what Nkonge can do. I know what Nelson Inzoa can do.
What I can do.
I know what Zach Banda can do. So I know what Jen Zulu can do.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but then let's move to the National Dialogue Forum, to which your party, the Democratic Party, attended, and you had representation there. What is it that you would like to bring to us in form of a report card regarding the whole forum? I know that we're going to highlight certain proposals that were made at the forum. Let's start with the reintroduction of the deputy ministers, for example. You've been a deputy minister before.
Yeah.
If someone is going to tell me that it's not an expense bringing back a deputy minister, tell me if it's not, based on your experience.
It's a very huge cost. And in fact, in terms of salaries, the difference between a deputy minister and a cabinet minister is only 500 kwacha. That's the difference in terms of payments. The difference between a cabinet minister and a deputy minister is only 500 kwacha. I was a deputy minister. If I remember, maybe that time I was getting, 25,000 kwacha? My cabinet minister, but he was a vice president, Dr. Scott. But the other cabinet ministers were getting about 26,000. So don't tell me that is not going to be a cost. Cabinet ministers, the same conditions that the minister gets are the same conditions that the deputy minister gets. The only difference is that the deputy minister doesn't sit in cabinet. The deputy minister has got a secretary who's paid by government. The deputy minister has got 2 drivers paid for by the state. The deputy minister has got security at their residences. The deputy minister has got a government house. If they are not in a government house, the deputy minister will be given 12,000 kwacha per month, or is it now 15,000 kwacha per month as housing allowance? The deputy minister has got a
maid, garden boy,
has got a garden boy, and has got a maid. The deputy minister has to fly business class. The deputy minister has got all those constitutional constituency trips that they make paid for by the state. So don't listen to those stories that they're telling you that the deputy minister's cost. That's why I'm saying that we are lacking a lot of seriousness in this country. This is, the country has reached an all-time low. If I was president currently, I would not even have allowed the discussion like this to go on. Because my jokes are, this is a scandal. That NDF thing, that's a scandal, I'm telling you. You can't allow such a thing to happen. What constitutional impediment, what constitutional challenge is the reappointment of deputy ministers going to bring in our current political dispensation? New, zero. What it's going to do is to increase costs. The reason for this is not economical. The reason for doing this is not to reduce the debt burden. No. If the PF government was serious about reducing the debt burden, they would have avoided that route of deputy ministers. But no, they're not serious about that.
But they're saying it's bringing efficiency in as far as delivery is concerned.
Come on. I was the deputy minister for 1 year, 2 months. Me, I'm not speaking from a platonic perspective. I was a deputy minister in the office of the vice president. And I didn't increase any efficiency of Dr. Guy Scott. That is why the architects or the submissions that we have done on Mvunga Constitutional Review Commission,
yes,
Mungomba, Mwanakatwe, and even the technical committee report, all these reports said they didn't want deputy ministers. And that is why the PF government brought it back. They implemented it. It's because the deputy ministers was just a cost to government. Just a cost. Even answering a question in parliament. As deputy minister, I will not answer a question in parliament before my minister says yes, go and answer like that. Because it is the minister who is responsible even before parliament. Even when you check on the order paper, they will say the Minister of Agriculture. And then the deputy minister will stand to represent the Minister of Agriculture. Because before Parliament, it is the Honorable Minister of Agriculture who is responsible for the Ministry of Agriculture. So, the reintroduction of deputy ministers is just meant to play politics. And the politics that they are playing here, I know the politics are playing.
What are they?
The politics they are playing is that President Lungu, because you seem to bring in so much in the picture, because for me, I want to talk about economic things that will help the people of Zambia, but you are bringing
No, we'll
politics.
get there. It's economical.
Look,
this issue is economical. If we have to save money...
President Lungu.
Yes.
President Lungu is afraid that in 2021, these ministers will run away from him. So what does he do? Let me first of all abolish the issue of Parliament dissolving, collapsing. So that when Parliament collapses, no one is going to say, we have resigned, we have gone there and there. They will still remain as ministers. So I will have got them. Secondly, he knows that a number of backbenchers in his own ruling party are so disenchanted. They are discouraged. And he has intelligence report before him that most likely they will not support you. So, in order to buy their loyalty, he says, let's have deputy ministers. So that those who are supposed to run away from him don't run away from him, they stay with him. Thirdly, it is a gimmick to preserve himself so that he can continue being in power. Even when parliament dissolves, they can still use state machinery. They can still use vehicles for government. They can still be going to offices and draw allowances while they are not doing any work for government. That is what the people of Zambia rejected. And I'm telling you, when I become president, even if in the most unlikely event that parliament nods to this, parliament agrees that this can be enforced.
Yes.
If they marshal the 2/3 majority in parliament.
Right.
Even as president, I will still not appoint deputy ministers when I become president. And I'm going to ensure that an amendment to the constitution is done for the removal of deputy ministers. Because this is just meant to safeguard and protect an individual, which individual has failed us in all spheres of our lives. Today we are burying our people who should not be buried. People are dying in hospitals because there aren't any medicines in there. The money has gone to procure a jet. Today our children can't get quality education because we can't have our teachers put on the payroll. Teachers have been looked down upon so much by this government. Because, look, they were given an increment.
4% increment.
They were given an increment of 4%, the civil servants.
Yes.
Surely. How can you give civil servants an increment of 4%?
It's better than nothing.
When the inflation
the economy
rate
is not okay.
Yeah, but 4% will just be swallowed by pay as you earn. Because the more you get, the more you get that kind of 4% to be swallowed. In fact, for me, the 4% is just a distortion on the pay slip of the teachers and the civil servants. It's just a distortion. Civil servants are working under very hard circumstances. And that is why I keep on assuring the civil service. I keep telling them I was one of you for 10 years. I understand your struggles. Because currently, the civil servants are not even doing their jobs. The jobs are being done by the politicians. They have taken over the role of procurement. They have become transport officers, these politicians. They have become procurement officers. They are the ones who have become permanent secretaries. They're the ones who are employing people. They're human resource officers. They're the ones doing everything, these politicians. That is why it is good. And I'm happy myself that I went in the civil service before I became a politician or before I joined politics, because me, I'm not a politician. I realized that the civil service must be a guiding factor. Here we are. They go and they say, oh, no, civil servants are giving you 4%. They themselves, you remember what happened last year? They're now getting more than 70,000, 80,000 kwacha, these ministers, per month. Because they increased their salaries, they doubled their salaries. And they backdated to January. While for a civil servant to give them 4%, and they'll start getting at the end of June, which is next month, it's not going to be backdated. For them, they backdated for themselves. So it means they got hundreds of thousands of kwacha. That's why you look at their lips. Their lips are always looking oily. If my jamu, they are eating. If my chicken and chips, they're eating all kinds of things. But you look at the lips of our civil servants. Go and look at the people who are borrowing money today. These microfinances.
Right.
Civil servants. So I am telling the civil servants, when I become president, I am going to ensure that the dignity of a civil servant is restored. We should have properly trained people in the civil service. People who have to go for training. We will ensure that technocrats are respected and that they are given their wealth. Why should it be that a civil servant in Zambia should be admiring a civil servant in Botswana? Before, we used to have teachers coming from Uganda. They were coming here to teach in Zambia. Coming from Ghana. They were coming to teach here in Zambia. Today, we don't have teachers coming from anywhere. Teachers were coming from India. If you recall, during our time, most of the people who were teaching us maths and sciences were people from India, teachers. Do you see them anymore now? No, they have stopped coming because we can't look after our teachers. We discourage our teachers. We disparage our teachers. All we are doing now is just politics. That is why the conditions of civil servants will have to be enhanced under the DP administration and Harry Kalaba as president. We want to give them dignity, their dignity back. And then one of the clauses which was there, Azak,
yes,
also was they want civil servants to take 2 years, resign 2 years, and then join politics. Outrageous! Outrageous! Why do you want a civil servant to resign 2 years before joining politics? When you as a politician, you have not told us how long it should take you before you join the civil service. Because civil servants have said 2 years before. What about a politician? Because you are busy appointing district commissioners as civil servants, you are appointing politicians as the permanent secretaries, you are appointing politicians as high commissioners, politicians as... So why haven't you told us what period a politician also requires before you enter the civil service? Because in the civil service, there's training there. I sat for exams myself at NIPA for civil service exams. I sat there. I had to be interviewed by a panel from PSMD. Over 10 of them were seated there, asking me various questions before they admitted in the civil service.
You mean that's no longer happening?
It's no longer happening because now it is just, if you have got a new Chitenge material, Zach, wear it even now, and I can bet you 100,000. Wear a Chitenge material right now. Go and make a shirt of a Chitenge material of PF and walk with a placard that Edgar for life. Just walk from here, Levy Junction more, and walk to State House. If you won't be appointed, you come and tell me. You end up being ZNBC Director General. That's how cheap it has become. That's how simple it has become. Just wear a Chitenge material for PF and you get your job. That kind of mismanagement is coming to a close. That kind of mismanagement is coming to a close.
Are there positives that you've picked out as a party from the just ended NDF?
Look, first of all, even the modus operandi of that NDF is not correct. The question you should ask me is, what proposals did the NDF or the National Disaster Forum, what proposals did the National Disaster Forum make? Is this disaster?
Dialogue Forum.
Oh, whatever it is called. What proposals did it make which have now been seen to help the people, to help the minibus driver? What proposals did they make to help the school-going children in Kalaba? What proposals did they make to make the unemployed youths in Lusaka be better off? Reintroduction of deputy ministers? MPs now will not lose their 3 months pay because they lose their 90 days when parliament is dissolved? Is it the issue of blocking civil servants from joining politics until 2 years before they should resign? What I mean, what does that got to do with the price of milli meal, which is now at 125 kwacha a bag? And you know that again is a thorny issue. The price of milli meal is at 125 kwacha, 130. In some areas, it is even hitting 150 kwacha. I was in China. In China, the cheapest thing you can find is rice, because that is the staple food. I was in Ghana. In Ghana, the cheapest thing you can find is fufu, because that is the staple food. I did my university in Uganda. The cheapest you can find in Uganda is matoke, bananas. That is the staple food. I was in Algeria. I was in Morocco. The cheapest you can find in Morocco and Algeria is bread. That is the staple food. Today, a price of milli meal can be 150 kwacha, 125 kwacha, 115 kwacha. And you can have the audacity to say, Pabuato, Tulei Minina, we are going to win, to be landslide. Where? Where? That's a joke. That is a joke. And I can tell you, that's why, Zax, we are not resting in our beds. That's why we are on the ground. When you hear me not talking on radio, when you don't see me here and are saying, we don't see you in town, what will I be doing in Lusaka? I'll come back to Lusaka in 2021. Right now, let me be in Isoka. Let me be in Mafinga. Let me be in Namshaken. Let me be in Kalomo. Let me be in Chavuma right now. And I am doing that. That is why the Democratic Party has managed to form structures. And people were asking the other day, but Harry Kalaba, whom are you working with? You seem to be working alone. Me working alone? You want me to be parading everybody that I'm working with here? You want the old faces, the same old ones who are tired, the same old ones who have been doing all kinds of things. The ones I should be saying, oh, we are working with that one. We are working with that one. No. We are working with a lot of Zambians across the board. Because this battle is not even mine. This is a people's battle. To take this battle as mine will be an illusion. This battle belongs to the Zambian people. And so far, they are fighting it well. They are negotiating their own space very well. Despite what the PF might want to do to...
I was almost asking you a question. Are you doing this smoothly? Are there challenges that you are facing? And what are they?
Zach, you heard that 5 of my vehicles were bashed in...
Yes, I saw that.
In Kasempa.
Sure.
Mtanda Kasempa turnoff. Were ambushed. My PF said, get out of here. This is a stronghold for this one. If it's a stronghold for that one, do you have to do that? You don't have to. If it's a stronghold, things show themselves. Then I knew, this is porridge here. And so I intensified our works there. I was in Ikeleng. I was in Chavuma. I don't even know Zach that I was in Chavuma. You don't know.
I know you were in Chongwe.
I was in Chongwe.
Where you had another
again, the
incident?
Police, yes. So when the police hear, they say, oh, go there and stop him. You won't manage. First of all, I want to congratulate the police, the men and women in uniform. Because of them, we have our peace. This country, we have our peace because of the men and women in uniform. And I want to tell them, continue keeping that peace and tranquility of our country. I understand the challenges that you have. We as DP know the problems you are going through. And just know that a better day is coming.
Before I open the phone lines, I would like to engage you on the issue of the free fall, Zambian Kwacha free fall against major foreign currencies. I mean, there is an indication by the government that this is not the free fall of the Kwacha, but the improvement of the dollar, for example. That's the reason why. And this is not in any way an indication that the economy is going down.
Oh, my son in our home today who eat delele. Don't compare with... It's because that man, our neighbor, has been promoted, is now a director. So that's why they are eating beef. So for us, we eat delele because now Jane Zulu's house is... Is that the way things work? Is that the way things work? Things don't work that way. So we'll be relying on the US dollar to depreciate for us to appreciate. That doesn't work. How come the rand is doing well as well? How come the kwacha has also tumbled before the Japanese yen? How come the kwacha has tumbled before the euro? It has tumbled before the pound. When the kwacha appreciates, the PF is in the forefront saying, we have worked the macroeconomic indicators. When the kwacha collapses, no, it is the dollar. They want to take credit for what is good, and for what is bad, they want to leave it to everybody. Then you see that this leadership is not a serious leadership. And the only reason why we should kick them out is because they don't even know the reason why the kwacha is collapsing. One of the reasons, in case they don't know why the kwacha is nose diving, is that same thing they have brought on the investors. They have introduced this sales tax. That sales tax they have brought is actually shrinking the manufacturing base in this country. They are the limited space for our captains of industry. It is shrinking its space. And it was targeted at the mines because government didn't want to be paying back that value added tax, refund, VAT refund.
Yes.
They didn't want. So they were following the mines. But look, that sales tax, from the lessons I've been getting from my colleagues within the party and even outside, has been that sales tax will just increase the prices of commodities. And I have verified it. Yes, it will increase the price of commodities. And so, the government is asking all those guys, manufacturers, to be importing. When they import, government is slapping them with a 16% import on service and goods tax. I mean, what kind of thing is that? So now, before, our manufacturers and the mines, they would still get that, but that cost was not theirs. They would pass it on because they would claim that. That's the amount that government doesn't want now to pay them. They want to be withholding it. So they have seen that if we continue investing in this economy, our investment is not secure. So they are withholding their money. Then second, they're also withholding their money because of statements coming from the head of state. When he says he will check you out, we will go, it means that Zambia's stability in terms, first of all, of the tax regime is not stable. And then also that in terms of investor confidence, you have undermined it. And so any investor worth his salt will think twice. In a country where the president can just issue a statement like that and he doesn't care, then they say, hey, we have to be careful. We thought these are boardroom issues. Even when we make a mistake, we thought these issues should be dealt with in the boardroom. But now to speak just like that openly, hey, I think here, this is really Zambia. But we know that they can make those outrageous statements that are discouraging the donors. But I want to encourage the donors that not all is lost in Zambia. The Democratic Party is coming, Harry Kalaba is coming, and the investor confidence will be enhanced. And while it will be enhanced, we'll ensure that our people are taken care of. Because if I was president this time, the issue of Konkola copper mines would have been an old issue now, because I would have dealt with them once and for all, squarely so, and would have already moved on. But because these people are playing politics, they think by people clapping for them, by people doing that for them, then they are safe. That's the problem that we have. So we need a serious leadership in place.
Well, it's time for me to invite our listeners, for those that would like to participate. But before I actually bring you in, let me take a short break and we'll be back in a moment.
The news in detail with me, Curtis Flamingo.
I'm Miriam Siame.
My name is Grace Musmuko.
My name is Lumbiwe Mwanza.
My name is Muhammad Fofana.
This is 5FM News.
The details.
The opposition cannot be entertained at the ICC. It is quite clear that they have not familiarized themselves with the wrong statute that governs the ICC.
A DC is a destructive cadre. That's why it's DC. They are there to destroy. And that's what I'm saying, that look, there's something wrong in this country and something needs to be done.
We don't want to be misunderstood by the PF propaganda machinery that we are blocking the need to amend the Constitution. So Parliament cannot be the decider of the Constitution for the people of Zambia.
Mr. Hichilema does not understand that there comes a time in the life of a nation when we must all take off our political and partisan outfits and look at what matters for the country.
You also know that the positions that you are enjoying are not permanent, because those are temporary jobs. And for me, he who laughs last laughs the loudest.
Marty P will be very proud of you. You guys have done extremely well. Keep doing very well. We're staying within your lane. And part of that, I think you have more qualified journalists here than most stations that I know, because Marty P was such a professional, profound professional. And may you so rest in peace. In my role as IBA chair, I wish other radio stations could look at and listen to what you do and just emulate a little bit of that.
Wake up to the latest news on your number one FM dial, 89.9 at 06:15. Objective, effective, balanced, and diversified reporting in our lunchtime news at 12:45. End the day with information on global and local trends by listening to our main evening bulletin at 18:30, or log on to our website on www.5fm.co.zm, or listen to us live by liking our Facebook page, 5FM Radio Zambia.
Ethiopian Airlines says that investigators have recovered both black boxes, meaning the voice and data recorder, from the crash site to try to figure out what happened. Boeing faces a lot of safety questions because this is the second crash in just 5 months involving their best-selling passenger jets.
They all say they are number one, but the only difference is our content is 5 times better than theirs. 5FM Radio, your dependable source for news.
Welcome back. You are listening to this special edition of the Burning Issue on the Happy World of 5FM Radio. And in case you've just joined us, welcome. And of course, our guest is the president of the Democratic Party, Mr. Harry Kalaba. And of course, we've discussed a number of issues. And obviously, we will now give you an opportunity to call in and interact with our guest. I also have comments on our Facebook page, a lot of them, but we'll just pick a few because of time. And so let's see if we can pick this call. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Zach.
How are you today?
I'm fine, Zach.
Thank you very much. And I'll give you 60 seconds, so you better be quick. Your name?
Elvis on the line. Zach, you are very strict on time.
Yes,
this
please.
is why we are saying that, Zach, you should increase your time.
Or you want to impeach me from this program?
But
because our guest has to rush somewhere, so I want to take as many callers as possible so that he responds and dash out.
That's why you have been saying that if you start that program at 10 hours, give us the callers at least from 10:40 we start calling so that we have time to interact with the president. Good morning, Mr. President. There.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Very fine, Mr. President. Elvis on the line, Mr. President.
Wow, Elvis.
Yes, boss.
I'm happy to hear from you.
Thank you very much.
Talk to me.
Yes. What you are articulating there are very sensible things, which any leader who is in the government can pick from what you have said. All what I love with your politics is that you are very humble, very self-respected, and the way you articulate issues in order to advise the government. These are hallmarks of a great leader. If we have leaders like you in this country, then I'm telling you, this country would have been somewhere. It doesn't mean that when we are in the opposition, you should just come to attack the government. But what you are saying there, for me, I can pick 2 or 3 things which I can work on. Talk of the mines today. We have the problem of the mines where they want to lay off the workers. The only solution which you have said there, sit down with the mines, talk to them, and make sure that you hear what they are telling you, and you put your thoughts together and see the way forward. So, Mr. President there, I think I love what you said. You said you do not live in Lusaka. You live in the outskirts of this country to organize your party.
Yes.
This is very good. Because for me, if you stay in Lusaka, how are you going to organize your grassroots? So for me, Mr. President, I think you are giving proper checks and balances, and the people are listening to you. And the people who tell them the truth. As you have come there, you are articulating what you come and do for the people. This is why we are saying that Hari Kalaba, in the near future, he might become president of this republic.
I've only given you...
in a conclusion, Izaki...
No, you are ever concluding you.
Yes.
Please conclude.
Yes. When that president is there, Mr. Zaki, we cannot conclude. We can finish it 2 hours.
I knew it.
Yes.
So
I would like to
let him speak.
The president, to encourage the president to keep on mobilizing his party. We are there listening.
Thank you.
And we are there to make sure that people like Mr. Hari Kalaba will come into government when the time comes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Elvis.
you so much, Elvis.
I'll take 3 more so that you can respond to the 4 at once. Let's take this one. Good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, Mr. Zaki.
Yes, how are you, boss?
I'm okay, my friend, and how are you?
Not too bad, thank you.
Thank you. Sweet Boo on the line.
Sweet Boo, you've got a minute, please.
Yeah. Bakalaba Mashibukeni, my president.
Sweet Boo. This is a special name. Yes, sweetness. Ni mapenzi.
Wabosi inendefo kulanda pa mamaini na mumona mamaini efyo bachitire ba PF kuya batampya ba miners kwe bati bena balala ninga mamaini nomba ba PF kuti balani ngashani mamaini pantu n'abafirwa okuforesha ba council n'abafirwa okuforesha ba zamposti ba national housing itabarefora then na barifirwa okwisula mulungushi text house barifirwa okwisula Motor National Assembly ku Livingstone, Fiat Motor Assembly ku Livingstone. No mbama mine kuti bakwanisha shani ndalama bala tusanga kwisa, ndalama sha kuforesha maweka tabakwete. Numa mashini bagashita kwisa.
Wafilo okulya mincemeat, tibo niwe walalya. Wafilo okusheta mincemeat. Tibo ntwa isheta.
Wa president ndefu office mumupere mu chairman mumutendere. Mumupere nchito mutendere abe chairman wenu. Pantu na inende de konkomesha ku UPN duku de konkomesha. Na yena musende wa PF tule chula na yena. Tapalo kwa bomba tafora na bwino. So mumupere nchito munandi mukalamba wandi. Please bakalamba tulandire nikoni ba PF na batuchusha pa fula. Ibunga na budura ifintu takuli filifyonse file ona ukapa nomba bareta at deputy minister bafumya ko mameya nombe ndala mashia ichama deputy minister baka fumya kwisa pantu bare firo kuforesha ababonzi mu government na masifo 70 na nomba tabare fora bwino. Thank you bakalamba tisuma.
Thank you very much Sweet Poo. We'll take two more on 0955 221515. So let's hear from you. Good morning.
Morning, how are you, Mr. Moderator?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm very fine. This is Philemon, still calling you from Chitulika, Zambia.
Philemon, please go ahead, Philemon.
Thank you. Good morning, the vibrant president there.
Good morning, Philemon. How are you, sir?
I'm very fine. Thank you. Indeed, the PF government has brought problems, especially here in the rural areas. People have failed to eat 3 squared meals because of this inflation. The workers have been given this the so-called 4% increment amidst of inflation. What does it mean? Again, when you increase salaries, make it to a bigger salaries amid of inflation, you are exacerbating the situation. First of all, to ameliorate the situation, you have to make sure that you address the issue of inflation. How can you address the issue of inflation? Number one, there should be productivity. Because inflation means something is lacking. Look the way mealie meal. People are failing to buy mealie meal because the purchasing power has been lacerated, has been compromised. What we want here is, when there is productivity, these prices, there will be no need of hiking the salaries. These salaries will drop on their own because the country will have been saturated by mealie meal or other commodities. So these meager salaries amid of inflation, they are nothing.
Thank you very much. Philemon, your minute is up. In fact, I've given you more than enough, but thank you so much. Your message has been taken.
In conclusion for the question now.
Right.
Mr. President, I've got this question. The question is, are we in the inflation era or deflation era? I think, Mr. President, you address this issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Philemon. I'll take one more, then I allow the President to respond. Let's take this one. Good morning.
Moderator, good morning.
Morning to you. Thank you.
I am the governor of Ntumbachushi.
Governor of Ntumbachushi.
President Kalaba, good morning.
Governor.
You see, Mr. President, being new, it is what is going to help you in life as a politician. I beg to differ with Elvis for the first time since we started calling. There is no proper checks and balancing that you are providing to the government of the day by being bitter on President Edgar Chagwarungu. If there is any personal differences that you have with Edgar, sort it out with him, not on national issues. The people in the mines, they are suffering, President Kalaba. And all we expected from you is to support your colleague who wants to get back the mine that the governments can lend them. That's what we expect from opposition political party leaders, to stand with the president and see to it that the Zambian people come first. But because we know your tricks, you opposition political party leaders, are lost, then you come back on that radio station to come and tell the Zambian people to say, look what the president, what he has done. He has left KCM to run the mines like that. It doesn't work like that. The things you are talking about civil servants, every day people are complaining about politicking in all civil servants. Go to general education, go to health, go to Ministry of Community. There are people who are doing politics. And when people are retired in national interest, people are saying that it is tribalism. And when they are given 2 years, that is okay by NDF. That proposal is okay. I expected you, who was a civil servant, Mr. President, to support that one. But because of hatred, because of bitterness that you have for the patriotic flag, you want to shoot down everything. No, Mr. President. It is that kind of tone that is going to return President Edgar Chagwa back in power in 2021. It is that kind of talking. The more you talk negative about the president, is the more the Zambian people are liking the man. Because we understand to say, Lubindana Zoka, the economist, best economist that we have in the African continent, was on OTFM, and he told us what is making the kwacha to go down. Lubindana Zoka said there are a lot of things. One of the things is that you opposition political party leaders, when you go out there, you are painting a bad picture. Your own country, Mr. Kalaba, the country that you admire to Lu, you are painting bad picture. You, Mr. Akainde, and Mr. Kambwidi. You, Mr. Kalaba, your own country, when the dollar is going up, when kwacha is appreciating, instead of you to stand in unit to say, what do we do? You are busy in the negative thoughts, this campaigning President Edgar Chagwa.
Thank you, Governor. Governor, I've given you more than enough time.
Allow me to conclude. You allowed them to conclude. I'm going to conclude in this way. No amount of words by Kalaba, no amount of words by Akainde Ichilema and Kambwidi will stop the Zambian people from returning the patriotic flag back in power in 2021. We are behind Edgar because we are seeing what he has done. The man is safe.
Thank you very much, Governor. Let me give you an opportunity to respond because time is not with us. I know that Philemon has an important question, and please, you can also respond to Governor of Tumbachushi.
But first of all, I have to say thank you very much to Elvis.
Right.
And Sweet Boo. I think these are realists. These are living in Zambia, and these have refused to be used. I think they have escorted politicians for far too long, and they have said no more. We are going to leave this governor and Tumbachushi alone. Because this governor, when you ask this governor, just ask the governor. 1, governor, have your children gone to school? 2, governor, where are you working, governor? 3, governor, your relatives, are they happy with even what you are saying, governor? Because you governor, because the wife is listening and is saying, Tata Mayo, this husband of mine I've married. He can talk like this to Kalaba. I think this governor, there is a SIM card somewhere which is not properly aligned. Number one, governor. Our governor is saying Kalaba is bitter. Me, I can't be bitter. Me, I resigned on my own in case you have forgotten, governor. I resigned and I said I can't be part of the corruption which is going on in the PF government because Avala and poor people should now be escorting those that are eating well. Poor people should now be clapping when their president buys a jet for $135 million. Poor people like teachers should not be put on payroll, but government is able to buy expensive ambulances in the Ministry of Health. Government is able to enter into all kinds of contracts with these companies, IDC and them in the Ministry of Health. That is the problem that we have. Aban Tumbachushi doesn't even know what he's talking about because the levels of suffering in this country are too severe to talk the way he's talking. This is not the way a bitter man speaks. And I have said on the mines, I think if governor followed me well, all I said was that President Lungu is not taking serious steps to take care of the miners on the copper belt. Because this problem with KCM and Mopani has not started today. That's what I said. This problem started, I even said, when I was in Chingola in November, the Minister of Mines had issued an ultimatum. If the president was walking the talk, this issue should not even be an issue. Now it should have been a non-issue. But because he does not take the plight of the miners seriously, that is why he's able to talk the talk and fail to walk the talk. That's what I was saying, my governor. You say civil servants are politicking, Governor Ntumbachushi. It is you who is politicking. Which civil servant is politicking? When a civil servant says that they have not been paid on time, or when their children can't go to school, is that politicking? When government gives civil servants 4%.
Or maybe it's because the civil service has been infuriated by politicians.
Yes, and that's why we will not allow politicians to be part of the civil service. You choose whether to become a politician or you become a civil servant. Because me, I know. I was a civil servant, and Ntumbachushi is right. I was a civil servant for 10 years. And I know that what governs the civil service and what governs the politics are two different paradigms. So there's no way that a civil servant who has been given 4% as a salary increment should be expected to keep quiet because Ntumbachushi, it doesn't work that way. You know, let us be fair. Even when we talk on these matters, me, I'm not here to joke. I don't have that time for jokes or for playing. And I leave no room for bitterness in my heart. I don't have bitterness in my heart. And when I speak on these matters, that's why I rarely speak. It is because when I speak, I'll speak on fundamentals. And all I am saying is that the PF doesn't know whether it is coming or going. This is a government that should never ever be re-elected again. This is a mistake that was made. We'll have to correct this mistake. If need be with our own lives, we'll do it. But we'll not allow the PF to continue masquerading as leaders of this government when they have failed all of us. They have failed even me, who was their own minister. Me, I resigned. Governor Ntumbachushi. He has never worked in government before. Me, I resigned. I was the face of this country, going out, talking to multilateral corporations, talking to countries within Africa and beyond. That's the role I was playing for the country. And when a person like me says things are not well, especially a person who was not fired, then I mean well. And so Ntumbachushi should just know that I am not here to hate President Lungu. As a person, I have told you that I've got nothing against Lungu as a person. That is why I have said I'll also not even insult President Lungu. That I've refused. Even when I'm criticizing him, you will remember that I'm always calling him president. Because whether I like him or I don't like him, he is the president that we have. But he is the president we are going to kick out in 2021. That's a fact. So, Philemon is asking me a question of minimum prices are high. Actually, are we in the inflation era or deflation era?
That's the question.
I don't know. I mean, there's inflation all over the country now. The inflation spiral is too high. So, it's clear. When there's inflation, there's a problem in the economy. Right now, because of this same problem we have in the economy, you find that you can have the goods, but there is limited purchasing power. Because very few people, because inflation can be, you've got a lot of money, and then you've got a few goods. You can have a lot of goods, and you've got limited capacity to buy. Because this is a dumping ground. This is a dumping ground from everyone. Everyone wants to dump their goods in here, they'll dump them in this country. Because nobody is standing up for the people of Zambia. It's just a Democratic Party. And that Kalaba who have said we are going to do this for Zambia.
I have a quick question from Leonard Dennis Tembo, who says, things are getting out of hand now, Mr. President.
Where are you getting that question from?
From Facebook. The price of commodities are going. The prices of commodities are going up, and he is asking one question: what will be your immediate solution to such a problem? And I think I was going to ask that question as well at some point, but just as well that it's here. What will be your immediate?
My immediate solution to that is that we have to stop the bleeding. This country is bleeding. This is the only country where people can go out with all kinds of money outside the country. You can even go out with $2 million. Nobody cares. This is a country where everything, every border is open for people to take out as much as they can and dump in as much as they can. That is going to stop. First remedy, that stops. The second thing is that I'm going to stop this thing of getting, I even said it earlier on, the issue of getting logs leaving the country, raw materials leaving this country. That is what is bleeding this economy. We are allowing timber to leave and then we're importing desks. That I will not allow as president. We are allowing in this country copper to live in the fashion that it is living. That I'm not going to allow. I am going to take the mines on very, very seriously myself. Because up to now, we are failing to account for cobalt as a country. I will want to see where the sales for cobalt are. Because cobalt is much more expensive, more lucrative than copper is. And I know that in the next 20 years, we're talking about vehicles propelled by energy, by solar. How will we have those? I'm told that cobalt, manganese are important components for those things. So Zambia has to begin preparing itself for the next challenge. I'm prepared at the first day I take office to ensure that our youths already begin laying their hands on they begin working. I am prepared to ensure that agriculture gets the attention it should get. Because right now agriculture is just lip service. The Farmer Input Support Program is a disaster. And yet in Malawi, just here, where they are voting today, it is something that we can talk about.
But Dennis's question, I think he is saying, let's put it practically. Today you are sworn in as president of the Republic of Zambia and the mealie meal price is at 150 kwacha. What are you going to do next week that I should get it less than that?
Look, that's what I was telling you. That it is the job of government. It is the job of government to ensure that things like mealie meal are looked at and that they don't go beyond. Because first of all, you have to call the millers around. Because for me, when I become president,
right,
the millers have to come and see me. I have to sit down with them and say, look, why are you giving us at this price? What is it that is making mealie meal go at this price? They will tell you, oh, there is no maize in the country. Where is FRI? How much stock do you have in FRI? Oh, we have got this stock. Can we offload? Can we have the millers? I will do everything within my powers to ensure that the price of mealie meal comes down. Because that is a strategic starting point. And that one will happen in the first week of my becoming president. In the first week of my becoming president, the price of mealie meal will have to tumble. It will have to tumble.
Allow me to take the last three calls. I know we are a minute away from 11:30, but let me take the last three. 0955-221515 is the number you can call us on if you'd like to participate. I'm taking only three last calls. Good morning.
Hello, morning.
How are you today?
I'm happy that I've gotten through.
Oh, okay. Your name?
Yeah, my name is Chipeta.
Chipeta.
I'm calling from Lusaka.
Please, Mr. Chipeta, go ahead.
Yeah, morning, Mr. President.
Morning, Mr. Chipeta.
Okay. I don't know, whether some politicians, it's like you take us for granted. Or is it because education is expensive in Zambia, that they analyze this into we know. I'm getting a bit emotional because the president today comes and says, our running our minds, they're making wrong decisions. But on the board, there is a representation of the PF. When I say of the PF, I mean of the government, because the government is being run by PF.
Right.
There is representation, which means even when they make a decision that we are going to prune or we are going to get rid of 2,000 employees, the state is aware. Then why cheat us on the airport that, no, I didn't know this and I'm going to do this when the state is aware? Because all the meetings are attended by some representative from government, if I'm not mistaken. That's the right procedure. And I should believe the president was aware.
And I guess you mean the representation through ZCCMHI, right?
Yes, whichever representation, but there is a representation of the state, of the government.
Sure.
Yes. So why do they represent us? They represent us so that we make decisions together. So I believe when the decisions were being made there at the mine, the government is aware. So now the government starts pretending as if no one was aware and these people are making wrong decisions. But meanwhile, the decisions were made in consultation with each other. So me, I find it I don't know how to describe it, but I think it's embarrassing to some extent. It's only that the Zambians don't know. And education has become very expensive so that we cannot analyze issues.
But in Tumbachushi was saying that they are doing, when Tumbachushi was is not agreeing with you.
Tumbachushi does not live in Zambia. He is somewhere in space. Because in Zambia, everything that we were promised by the government, by PF, hasn't materialized. Maybe somewhere in space or in Mars, where he lives.
Mr. Chipeta.
And by the way, Mr. President, maybe you can hint me on how much such people are paid. Because I mean, I cannot say that.
That's all.
Bwana, even if I'm paid $1 million, I can't say that because I have relatives, I have children. I can't say that. I can't cheat from, to that extent. And on a public radio.
Mr. Chipeta, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time and your concerns. I'll take two more and then we close on 0955221515. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Who are we talking to?
This is Vomun Sanje in Kanyama.
Vomun Sanje.
My president, good morning.
Morning, Vomun Sanje. Mulika botu badala.
I think about the president.
Mulibayon.
Otherwise, Mr. Manager, I just joined. I don't know where you started. I like your program.
Thank you. Funsan.
NDF, for the formation of NDF, you want to put some minister in
Vamusanje phone yanu siri bwino but mukamba chani ati NDF chani
nati nafusa minister venango vanalipa program inango kuseni na vafusa na NDF yanu tizo kuti va chairman vanasati vana va president koma who was given the responsibility to choose the delegates because mutuza kuti the delegates was balancing. We were well represented in my delegates.
Right.
So, kulina chipoda kuti ministers vakala varamba exam, setting an exam. Now, is there any fairness? Panga exam, malasi tikakale now tilembe. Palisensi hapo. What are you telling me, Mr. President, concerning the coalition government? What are we going to benefit?
Okay,
20 or 70.
Thank you.
President, otherwise we are enjoying the program. Keep on hammering
so please pump sense in them. But I get his question. His question is
the coalition government?
The NDF was the NDF chair was appointed by the president. And then he was talking to a minister who was on some radio today.
Saying it was a balanced composition.
Yes, they call out. So who called the delegates?
For them to be balanced.
Yes. So he's doubting the whole balance issue.
It was not
balanced. But I'm taking one last caller. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Mr.
Good morning. Please switch off your radio, then we talk.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. President Kalaba.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Fine, sir.
Your name, sir?
This is Captain Mono.
Captain Mono.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, please, I just want to advise, to encourage you, keep it up. Never mind these PF cadres.
Thank you.
Hello?
Is that all?
Yeah, and the issue of minimum, please, tell Mr. President, Mr. Lungu, the minimum is too high.
Thank you.
People that are suffering the compounds, I'm telling you, if you go in Kanyama, Mississippi, you can cry.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Do we need to tell the president, or he's aware of the pricing?
Maybe he doesn't know. Kaidi eats chips, he eats cornflakes, and takes a bit of a glass of wine, and he does so. When you mix those things, you can't know the price of meal meal. When you are mixing to my cornflakes, to my bacon, it's difficult. You think that everybody's having bacon, everybody's having baked beans, everybody's having... But people are suffering, and Captain Mono is right. People are suffering. I mean, let me tell you the truth.
The biggest remedy you require for the resuscitation of this economy is just a focused leadership. It's just a firm leadership. That is the remedy you have. You fix that, Zax, you fix everything. You just fix leadership, you'll have fixed everything. Because right now, the leadership that we have is in a quagmire. The leadership we have doesn't even care about you and I. They care about themselves. That's why the leadership can even go and get state lodge. Zax, are you aware that state lodge, they have shared plots. State lodge is like state house. They go and share plots in state lodge and they begin building flats for somebody just there. What impunity is this? What impunity is this? So the leadership that we have is not a leadership that is serious. It's one which is taking you for granted. They think it's business as usual. Therefore, they don't care about you. But we are here to serve notice on them that enough is enough. We can't take it anymore. 2021 kuya bebere. So Captain Mono, thank you very much for encouragement. Sanje, how can it be balanced, that NDF thing, if they are the ones who were choosing? I mean, the results were already predetermined. They knew who was going to support it and who was not going to support it. And they made sure that they had inbuilt numbers in there. So it succeeded. But we are yet to see how far it will succeed. Because tricks like this have never worked. The constitution must be a constitution. We should respect it. No matter what they do, no matter what trick they will do, we will not allow a third term in this country. There will be no third term. Mr. Chipeta, you are very right. There in the mines, and government actually, you know that government has got some shares through the CCMIH on the mines.
Right.
So it's not like government is not part of what is happening on the mines in Konkola and everything. Government is part of it. If government really cared about the miners, if government really cared about the suffering people in Chingola, suffering people on the Copper Belt, the president or government indeed should have toned down on talking the talk. There should have been more insistence on affirmative action because our people are suffering. People are dying of depression on the Copper Belt because nobody's caring for them. But I can tell you, don't give up, people of the Copper Belt. Don't worry. Harry Kalaba is coming. I have demonstrated enough seriousness myself by relinquishing my ministerial seat. I couldn't continue this kind of going about government business because these are jokes. We need seriousness when it comes to the lives of our people, not what we are seeing now. And Harry Kalaba and the Democratic Party are going to bring just that seriousness on the Copper Belt. Not just talking for the sake of talking. No. We talk less. We act more. That is who we are.
Mr. President, thank you very much for coming, and I can only wish you all the best, and God bless you.
Thank you, Zax, for having me here, and thanks to all the callers that made a date with me. I'm very grateful on behalf of the Democratic Party, but I can tell you that I am going around the country to ensure that we tell our people the truth. I can assure the people that I will not fail them. Those who are doubting me, I'm asking you to give me a chance. Observe me well and follow my politics very well. Those who are casting doubts on me that Harry Kalaba can't make it in 2021, I'm telling you to say no. It's going to happen in 2021. Don't listen to those who are telling you, no, you can't remove a ruling party has to win. No, a ruling party will lose in 2021. If it has never happened before, it will happen in 2021 because we are all ready for 2021. That's why we're doing all we can do. And be rest assured that we mean well for the country because the best of this country is yet to come. I know that when we put our minds to it, we can achieve the best for this country. This country's depth, this country's seriousness has not yet come out. What has come out is just mediocrity. And we want to cure that. And we can only cure that, especially now. The leadership required is a leadership like that of Harry Kalaba and the Democratic Party, whose policies are people-centered. We don't want the people to be taken advantage of. No. People have suffered enough, and we are not going to sit idle to see only very few people continue drinking wine at the expense of the majority Zambians. That will not happen. Not when we are here. So be rest assured that we'll be with you through thick and thin and ensure that Zambia goes where it should be. So trust the Democratic Party and trust Harry Kalaba. Thank you so much.
Tune in next week for another edition of The Burning Issue, and thank you for your participation. Democracy and freedom of expression is about tolerating the views that you don't like from someone you might not like.